Well, welcome back to the In Good Company podcast, where we believe that the best parts in business happen in good company. And today's guest, great company. Listen, I don't say this about everybody, but we've been jamming out already for 10, 15 minutes before the podcast even started. It's one of those guys that when you talk to, when you meet, you just automatically trust. And it makes sense for the work that he does, the business that he runs, that again, he's a trustworthy guy when it comes to his family, his life, but also with finances of others that that he's been able to help over the years. So without further ado, Anthony Pitti, how are you, brother?
Great. Appreciate that intro. That was really nice.
Of course, man. And dude, again, we've got some mutual friends and stuff, but I just think the moment that we met, and it was over Zoom and different things, but it's just, there's this kind of cut from the same cloth type of feeling. I think obviously we both are trying to figure out how to raise kids and stuff. So it's also like hey bro, you surviving over there? Yeah.
I had to wear my glasses to cover up the dark circles.
Of course. So for those that don't know your story, don't really know about you, just give us a quick little rundown of where'd you grow up? What do you do for work? All that fun stuff.
Yeah. Grew up in a lot of different places. My parents were in the military. Both of them were in the Air Force. So I grew up as a military brat. Spent some time in Italy, southern Italy near Puglia, about 4.5 years there. Whoa. And then went to North Carolina in Asheville.
Okay.
Spent a year there. And then we moved to Hilton, where my dad's parents were. Stayed with them while my mom was finishing up in the Air Force. She was in the reserves at that point. Spent most of my childhood in Hilton, and then after my freshman year of high school, we moved to Canandaigua. Loved it there. Missed leaving my friends in Hilton, but it was a great move. Really enjoyed the people there and had the lake.
Yep.
Decided to stick around for a bit. Went to Keuka College under the lake. Spent a great 4 years there playing soccer, meeting some of my best friends now, and stuck around the area with the family business.
Love it.
Yeah,
it's great.
Yeah.
Just lake hopping, man. Just
lake hopping.
Canandaigua, Keuka.
Need to be near the water.
It's incredible. No, I got it. Yeah. What's funny is I grew up in Northern Virginia, and I've got a bunch of buddies that right out of college they moved to the coolest cities around, like San Francisco, Philly, Nashville, Chicago. Like they're all over, and I'm like, you guys want to come visit Rochester? You know. But what's been crazy is when they do come in the summer, and we take them to Canandaigua, and we go out on the boat, and shout out Connor Dixon Schauble for letting us use your boat. But like when we go out and we're hanging out, it's like it really does rival some of the best regions in the country, right?
Yeah.
I think Canandaigua in the summer is really a beautiful spot.
It really is, and don't get me wrong, I've always wanted to live in a different area. Growing up, moving around, I've always liked experiencing different areas.
Yeah.
A buddy of mine used to live in Austin, Texas, so I went to go visit him, and I was like, oh, this place speaks to me.
Yeah.
It's just got a cool vibe. But yeah, I wouldn't regret what I've done.
Yeah. I think one of the cool things for those that are listening that do live in maybe a smaller city like a Rochester, I think one of the cool things about really being innovative in a smaller spot like this is that it feels like at times it can actually make a greater impact because rather than being a light in an already lit up place, you get to be a light in a dark place, right? And so there is some benefit, I think, there's some challenge for sure because you're being plopped in the Amazon and you've got a machete and there's no path ahead of you. Yeah. You've got to kind of force it and find it. But talk a little bit about working in a family business. Again, for those that are listening that maybe have experienced some of the just the uniqueness when it comes to family business. What has that been like, being both son, but also employee and, continuing to grow the business?
Yeah, I mean, it's not for everyone. I'm in a family business group, and it's a bunch of family businesses in the Rochester area. We get together, I think, once every 2-3 months. Basically just talk about our experience, bounce ideas off of each other, what it's like working with, a parent or a sibling or a cousin. It's not for everyone, you don't really get a break from the business life. I work with my brother and my dad. So holidays, business comes up. Birthdays, business comes up. It's tough, but it's also extremely rewarding. You know that the work you're putting in is going to benefit someone in your family. So I can
Yeah,
come
that's
into work, you know, bust my, you know what,
Yeah.
Monday through Friday, and I know if I'm bringing in, you know, business,
Yep.
and it's going to positively affect not only myself and my family, but my brother and his family and
Yeah.
my dad. And, you know, it's just extra rewarding that way. Not so much working for like that corporate life where you're benefiting someone that you've never met before, but you're really impacting your last name.
Yeah, it's awesome. I just imagine the dinner table moment where it's like, can you pass the pasta? And your dad's like, well, if you reply to this email, I can. You know? It's like, oh no. Yeah, it's got to be tough. I mean, you love them, and you're with them for life, regardless of how your job performance goes.
For sure.
Let me ask a follow-up question with that, because I think when it comes to relationships, especially business relationships, then there's a lot of transactional results-based relationships where these people value me based on what I do.
For sure.
And when it comes to family, it should be these people value me because of who I am and whose last name I carry and, because they're a good dad or a good mom.
Yeah.
What is that tension like? Because there's got to be a little bit of a, yes, they love me, but I still need to perform.
For sure. I'll credit my father on that. He brought my brother and I up in a way where you weren't going to rely on the things that he did. So anything we wanted, anything we achieved, we did it. He was there to support us in a way of like, I feel like almost that second parachute, like you pull that first one and it doesn't open, like it's that second pull where it's like that life-saving moment.
Yeah.
So like he's there in that case. But I feel like in a way of, especially in business, he's not going to say, I'm bringing you into this. You've got my reputation to lean on as far as building success. It's going to be on you.
Yeah.
I'll be here to help you if you need it, kind of guide you in your way. But if you're not performing, I'm going to let you know. It's not going to be like, oh, you're my son. Like, here's some help as far as growing your business. He's going to be like, you better perform or else.
Yeah.
And he'll let you hear it.
No, it's good, man. And I'm sure some of that military background and like being able to kind of bring that into the work side and how he's raising you guys. I'm sure that's a part of it.
Yeah. I mean, growing up in a military family, like if you wanted anything, you worked for it. You had your room clean, you did your homework, you got good grades. We didn't have chores where we'd get paid. It was, we lived on a farm, so if you wanted money, you went and picked apples and green beans and you helped grandpa plant. So it was a very much, you built your work ethic.
Love it.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man. Now your dad's got the nickname. When we first met, we were sitting on a Zoom call preparing to do some work with each other, and you and your brother just kept saying, Dad's the king of Canandaigua.
Yeah.
Like, where does that name come from? I mean, are you guys just busting his chops? I mean, are you like?
Yeah. I mean, I think our family, we bust each other's chops quite a bit. We try to keep it as professional as possible. But the King of Canandaigua started, I was in high school. I don't remember exactly the context that it came about, but my father's pretty well known in Canandaigua. He's got a lot of clients and he does a lot of networking events and charitable events, and he was on the board for a number of charities. So everywhere you went, somebody knew him.
Yeah.
And I think he enjoyed that as well. So it was kind of like he wanted to be that King of Canandaigua.
That's right, man.
And I think it may have just been brought up as a joke, and he didn't hate it, I don't imagine.
He's like out on the boat. He just like raises the sail. It's just like this huge like crown. It's like, Dad, you're really letting this go to your head here. Yeah.
No, it's not that bad. He the work that he's put in has made him well known in the area. And it was just a way of just kind of busting his chops again, being like, yeah, you're the king of
I
Canada.
love it. And hey, I guess that's the other benefit of having a family-owned business is you're going to have sons that are still going to pick on dad. I mean,
Yeah.
listen, bro, it's part of our mandate on the planet. Like, we
Right.
got to pick on our dad.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, we give it to each other quite a bit.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. No, I love that, man. I think, one of the things that we talk about on this podcast, we have a little segment called the fails of the week. I think when we talk about business and we kind of look at the fancy websites and social media pages, of course, man, especially in your guys' industry, you guys are wearing your collared shirts and your nice suits and ties and everybody looks right and it's perfect.
Yeah.
But I love with aspiring entrepreneurs, hey, it's actually not all rainbows, right? There are moments and stories that maybe weren't funny at the time, but as you kind of look back, maybe it's something to laugh about or whatever. But what would you say is one of those stories, and it could be from this week or, over the past couple of years, but what's kind of like a funny fail story? And again, maybe it wasn't funny at the time, but something kind of worth sharing.
That's tough. In this specific business, let's see.
I guess it doesn't have to be this specific business, but
I look back at, I've learned so much in this business that it's tough to come up with a fail, so to speak. But
Yeah.
I was in marketing before I got into finance. I never wanted to get in finance when I was growing up.
yep.
So I'd started my own marketing company. I had done marketing for small businesses. I did web design, graphic design, social media. Basically, I wanted to be that outlet for companies if they couldn't afford like a big agency.
Yeah.
Like your Dixon Schwabel. Sorry, Connor.
We love you, Dixon Schwabel.
Great people. But I learned a lot. My biggest fail is probably that business.
Okay.
I didn't know how to run a business.
Yep.
So it was a lot of, I'd send out bills to companies to pay me so I could pay rent. And, people don't pay when you immediately send out an invoice. They pay at the end of the month.
I'm learning that.
They pay at the end of the month or whenever they get to it. It was trying to find business, trying to convince people what they were missing out on. And it just got to the point where I couldn't survive on my own. So as far as a fail, I would say that's probably my biggest one. It was something I wanted to succeed at so bad, but just wasn't prepared to run a business.
So I didn't realize we would talk about this, and I'm so happy that you brought this up.
Okay.
I
Cool.
wanna sit in this for a second.
Yeah.
This is gonna come off maybe really strong, like towards the audience, but I think it's an important topic. There are people that have a business, and then there are people that have a hobby that they're calling a business.
Yeah.
At what point did you know it was time to kind of, as Mr. Wonderful says in Shark Tank, like take the dog behind the house and
Yeah.
kill it?
Yeah.
At what point did you realize, despite your greatest attempt to make that thing win, when did you realize, you know what, this is actually killing me?
Yeah.
Like, this is actually not the best use of my career, my time, my energy.
Yeah. And it's at that point where it was killing me. Like, it was like, I'm not enjoying this anymore.
Yeah.
I wanted to get into, this is kind of a running theme for me. In any job that I've had, it's been something serviceable. I wanted to help people.
Yeah.
I wanted to help companies grow, so I got into marketing. I thought it was a creative way of showing what I could do to help grow a business. That was the best part.
Yeah.
And it got to a point where I was just like, I was struggling to have purpose in that business. And I was like, this just isn't for me anymore. Like, it's just not something where I wake up excited to do.
Yeah.
So it was at that point where actually a friend of mine came to me to go work in IT recruiting. So essentially recruiting the same people that I was. So I was like, oh, that's perfect. Like, I know how to talk shop. I know what they're looking for. So it was an easy transition for me and one that like saved me moving forward.
Yeah. It's, again, any entrepreneur, anybody that starts their own thing, it requires faith of you're basically going up to the ledge and you're going, here we go. And you already used the analogy of the parachute. I mean, it's like that is a faith step, right, when it comes to entrepreneurship. But I think that what you overcame to actually let that thing die, that takes another faith step.
Yeah.
And there is a tremendous amount of security in your identity to be able to do that, because the amount of entrepreneurs and people that are either listening or that I've talked to that hang on too long because of the perception or the fear of what are people going to think.
Right.
If this business fails, it doesn't make me a failure.
You're not a failure.
It just means that the business failed.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. There's so many other things that you can be successful at and having a failed business. I mean, it goes historically. There's people that have failed in business that have succeeded in another way or another form.
Yeah.
I mean, my marketing business failed, but I'd say right now I'm a success. So, it's as plain as that, Yeah. And I think a big part of it is just being coachable.
Yeah.
I think at the time I wasn't a coachable person. I was young. I was in my mid-20s. I mean, I don't really think I became coachable until maybe 30, where I was actually listening to things.
Think about how much we knew in our early 20s. We had the whole world figured out, bro.
Right. You graduate college, you think you know so much.
You're like, dude, I went to CUCA. I went to CUCA College, baby. I
majored in marketing and communications. I've got this.
Hello. Yeah. I'm the king of CUCA.
Right, exactly.
That's incredible. No, it's spot on, man. I think there's being coachable, having mentors, having people that are, stages ahead of you, whether that's in parenting, in marriage, in business.
Yeah.
Like, there are so many different aspects of those things. And one of the things that I always say, if you're looking for a mentor, find someone whose whole life you want to emulate.
Yeah.
Don't just find the one little pocket, but then the guy's marriage is falling apart.
Right.
Because if you want a holistically healthy life, then try to find a mentor that has one as well.
For sure. That's a great way to put it.
So, again, one of the things I love about your story, and I think a lot of people can relate with, nothing is wasted in your journey. Meaning, you started a marketing agency, it failed. Now you are working in the incredible job with your family that you guys are in right now.
Yeah.
And you've started a podcast.
Yeah.
You are emerging into a marketing expression within your current business that I bet you came from some of the experiences that you previously had.
100%.
So talk about this new initiative, this podcast. What are you guys looking to achieve? When does this thing start?
Yeah.
Just give us a little bit of a rundown of the podcast.
Yeah, so it's already started. We ran our first episode as just an introductory episode. It's called The Finance Things in Life. I did not come up with it.
That's brilliant.
I thought it was amazing too. My brother came up with it. I do think he was probably more of the creative sibling.
Okay.
Even though I went into marketing, that's probably something he could have gone into. But yeah, we're basically going to talk about anything under the moon that comes up. There's a lot of law changes, tax changes, different industry leading financial tips. Could be things about inheriting IRAs. It could be about creating a retirement plan and not just putting money into a retirement plan, but actually creating something.
Yeah.
That's actually probably going to be our first episode, is creating that plan, and why it's strategic with, if you want to buy a second home or a new vehicle or put your kids through college, like, what's that look for you in retirement?
Yeah.
Like, is putting your kids in college going to affect you having a successful retirement? And what's that look like? So it's just going to be a lot of that, a lot of conversations that we've had with clients that seem repetitive. So we're like, why not just
It's great, man.
put it out there? People are asking the questions. Why not just give it to everybody?
Yeah, it's great. And again, I think from a marketing perspective, right, it's what are the pain points? What are the problems that are reoccurring?
Yeah.
And how can you guys be a resource for people
For
where,
sure.
hey, they may never work with you. It'd be great if they do.
Yeah.
But for you guys to kind of be that lighthouse that they can
Yeah.
continue to come back to and get that value from, I think it's a great idea. And hey, if you're looking for a spot, the Content House, bro, I think
There you go.
you guys could record right here.
It's a beautiful area.
Yeah, love it. So launching the podcast, all of that is absolutely incredible. When I started my business, when I kind of looked at the strengths, the things I'm good at, the things I'm not good at, financial, budgeting, investing, I get so overwhelmed with the terminology, hey, can you fill out this 1099, this W-2, this, XYZ 10, whatever. Like,
Yeah.
it literally derails me. And
Yeah.
anyone that's on my team knows this, that when I'm sitting in meetings or when I've got the meeting with the accountant, every year, they kind of can't talk to me for a couple of days before and after because there's just a little bit of just this anxiety.
Yeah.
I'm sitting in the accountant meeting last week with my wife, and I just stand up in the meeting, and she goes, why are you standing? I go, I just need a second to just stand. What advice would you have to someone that maybe kind of sits in my camp that they just don't really understand all that there is to understand about it? Do I need to? Like, can I, certainly I need to know what's happening,
right.
But it's like, what advice might you have for someone that just gets a little bit of anxiety when it comes to the numbers, the reporting, the spreadsheets, that whole deal?
Yeah, I was just talking to our CSA Jen. She's we just hired her maybe I think 8 months ago now. If I got that wrong, I'm sorry, Jen. But she was working at U of R in a completely different industry in like science. Like she was working on like science experiments.
Oh wow.
Yeah. And she just
Bill Nye.
Yeah. She wanted to change industries and she wanted to come over and wanted to give finance a shot. So she's trying to read basically finance terminology. She's got a little book that she's going through to learn what, Roth IRAs and IRAs and different, the 1099, for example. And it's draining to read it all when it's not in context. Like it's just a dictionary of finance terms. And I was like, quite honestly, like in this business, I feel like they make it difficult for a reason.
Sure.
Like, it's something they don't want everyone to pick up like that. I don't know why, but it feels like that. So I wouldn't feel bad about that, about feeling overwhelmed. It is very easy in this business because of all the acronyms and how heavy of a weight all these decisions actually make. As far as financial advice to give to people, one of the easiest things that I tell anyone, it doesn't matter how much money you could make 40 grand a year, you could make, $1 million a year. It's just live within your means. You can make, if you're making $1 million a year and you're spending over that, you're obviously in a much worse place than someone who makes 40K who spends well under that. It's live within your means, and it's amazing in this world that we live in with social media and keeping up with the Joneses. It's people want to have that nice car or the huge house, and if you can afford it, fantastic. If it's not going to put you in a pinch, by all means. But I feel like people want to show how successful they are, and if they feel like a beautiful car is going to show success, then that's what they're going to do. So that would probably be the advice that I would give someone.
It's great. Thanks for the free counseling session.
You're welcome.
Great.
You're welcome.
I'm happy we could record it.
Yeah.
I'll pay you afterwards. I appreciate that. I heard on a podcast once, this guy basically was like, there's people listening that have a Porsche in the driveway, but they still got a landlord.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
yeah,
that was very mean to say it that way. But I'm also like,
right.
I mean, there are,
You've got a depreciating asset in the driveway.
You've got a Land Rover and a landlord. It's like, oof, this is tough. But
I mean, there's people that live paycheck to paycheck that make a very good living, and they just don't know how to stop spending. They've got hundreds of thousands in credit card debt because they just don't know how to stop spending. It's a very easy problem to get into, especially with credit cards. It's so hard to get out of credit card debt because they're at 24% interest rates.
Dude.
But it's a very easy thing to do.
Yeah, I think that, obviously we could talk forever about this being a problem, and certainly you guys are able to help provide a lot of solutions that, again, are really custom for each person that you guys see. And I think that speaks to the level of care and really white glove type of experience that you guys provide. for someone that maybe wants to get started with you guys, or maybe wants to learn more about what you guys do, what's kind of the best way for them to connect with you guys? Is there a contact form on the website or a phone number? Like, what's kind of the best way to get going?
All the above. You can call the office, ask for any one of us. You can shoot us an email. We've got a contact form on the website. Reach out on social media. A big portion of our business is from referrals.
Okay.
So typically when people want to reach out and they're referred to us by someone else, they could have that person just say, hey, I've got a friend that wants to chat. Do you mind reaching out to them? Either or. But yeah, we're pretty easy to get a hold of. One of the Pitti boys is usually by the phone at all times. So
I love it.
Yeah.
And what do you guys do for fun? Like when you guys are like crunching numbers all day, I'm not making fun of your job, but I mean that for me, if I was just sitting in front of numbers, I think I've made that clear. I'd probably die.
Panic attack.
But like, what do you guys do for fun? How do you guys like kind of kick it back?
Yeah.
Relax with the boys.
A number of different things. Like you said, sitting in front of a computer, looking at numbers all day, watching the markets. I love getting outside, getting the fresh air. We're all big hunters.
Okay.
So, opening day of bow or gun season is pretty big for us. We all get together at my dad's house and, have a
kill
glass,
stuff.
Yeah. Have a glass of bourbon and talk about our old hunting stories, and they seem to get more and more exaggerated every year. Yeah, I mean that's a big way of just kind of letting loose. That's probably one of the only moments where we really don't talk shop.
That's great.
Is during hunting season. It's just all about the experience. So that's a big thing. I've played soccer since I was probably 4 years old, so I do that as well. Really anything outside.
That's awesome. You golf at all, or?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, big golfer.
Love
Try to get out as much as possible with a wife and 2 kids at home. It's tough to do like soccer every Friday year round and then be like, oh yeah, by the way, I'm gonna go golf on Saturday morning.
Honey, this is work related. I
Right.
know it's 5 hours long.
Right. I'm going as fast as I can, but it's gonna be 5 hours.
Have you seen those like Instagram reels of like when I tell my what my wife thinks a round of golf looks like, and it's the guy running as fast as he can, runs the next. Yeah.
Yes.
We can clip that. You guys can take a look. With that, and then we'll cut to my favorite part, which is the rapid fire hot seat questions. But what has it been like, kind of building business, doing this entrepreneurship, family business push? Now that you've got a family, now that you've got to kind of balance, I know we're laughing about it, but it's like, I think there are a lot of people listening that maybe do have young kids at home, and maybe they kind of look back and like, man, I wish that I had full-time energy to give to this, or this or that. Like, how have you really been able to find that balance between, being a good husband, being a good dad, but also still being able to show up well at work?
It's tough, man.
Is it?
It is.
For sure.
Real tough. Not going to sugarcoat it. Anyone that's got a family knows it. If you ask my wife, I'll wake her up, not on purpose, at 4:30 in the morning so I can go to the gym in the morning.
Yeah.
Get ready for the day. I unfortunately spend maybe 2 or 3 hours a day with my kids when I get home. So from, when I walk in around 5:30, they go to sleep around 7:30, 8 o'clock.
Yep.
That's really my only time with them. So it's pretty tough. I do think that it's given me a lot of purpose in this business. I remember when I was recruiting, my old manager was kind of a mentor of mine at the time. I wasn't motivated really. I was 28, 29, working a job recruiting people, which I loved doing. Got to meet some great people, but he was asking me like, what motivates you? I was like, I live by myself off of Park Ave. I've got a dog, an apartment that I can pay for. What motivates me is just enjoying myself, I guess. But it wasn't enough. Now it's what motivates you. It's my wife, my 2 kids, providing a life for them, giving them experiences that maybe I didn't have as a kid, or, I look at being a father as like this incredible gift where I can help mold and shape someone into a person that I wish I could be, because I'm starting at such a young age with this person. So it's this incredible opportunity to to do that, and it's not easy at all times. You know, I come home exhausted and stressed after a day, and the kids, you know, they're 3.5 and 1.5. You know, toddlers can be. It's exhausting. You just try not to like lose yourself in that, but like,
Yeah.
you know, I was talking to a buddy of mine. I was like, you know, sometimes I just laugh. Like, if my kids are throwing a tantrum, I just try to laugh and be like, what is happening right now? And just try to kind of get through that brief moment of chaos and move on from there.
Bro, my wife texted me this morning. There were 2 turds on the kitchen floor, and she goes, daughter took our 2-year-old took her diaper off, and she just shat all over the floor, right? Then she finds bits of my daughter's hair in the pantry.
Oh, God.
And says, G was cutting her hair this morning. Like, there are, like, spots of her hair in the pantry. And he's already at school, just loving his life.
Right.
Oh, I gave Sissy a haircut this morning. Now I'm at school. Like, nobody's going to know.
Yeah.
And that happened today. So just to kind of, you know, share in your pain, I still am here at work, and my wife's, you know, going, hey, when you get home, you better punish your son and get this thing figured out. So if I don't come to work tomorrow, then that means that I've been punished. So
parenting is no joke, man.
Oh, bro, it's one of the most rewarding things on the planet, but it is, you know, for people that are stay-at-home moms or for people that are really those primary caregivers and providers for the kids, like that job is so insanely difficult and so incredibly beneficial for the long term, the longevity of really shaping those kids. And encouraged by you guys, man, the way that you're leading your family and leading the charge, like even from afar, man, you're doing way better than maybe you even give yourself credit for, and just continue to
appreciate that.
Continue to stay the course, my friend.
Appreciate that.
We're better together in this impossible journey of raising kids and you know, trying to make it
happen. It's funny. I saw a post the other day. I sent it to a buddy of mine. Actually, I don't know if you know him, Randy Sperling.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I sent it to him, and it kind of reminded me of that. I wish I knew the exact quote the way it was written, but it was, I helped a man climb a mountain and then found myself at the top as well.
Wow.
Yeah, I thought it was amazing. And Randy's been another mentor of mine as well, and I just was like, oh, this is perfect.
Randy is one of those guys that's like, his what's the word I'm looking for? His reputation, like, just like kind of precedes him, right?
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of great business leaders in this area. And I feel like the vast majority of them are like, oh yeah, I grab lunch with Randy like once a month. Or, like his name always pops up in circles, which
no
is
matter where you go.
Just is a beautiful testament to, again, if you're going to start a business, if you're going to kind of blaze that trail, to take people with you, like
he's one of those infectious people where, again, doesn't matter what industry you're in, he's just one of those people where you can be like, hey, I need help with this, or I need to vent about something or talk about something. And it's not only just on the business side, but personal side as well. He's a great friend, a great resource to have for anyone that's looking to grow a business or look for some advice.
Shout out Randy.
Love it.
Love it. That's great. All right, here we go. As we close, rapid fire hot seat questions. These are 1 to 2 word responses. Like, you should be feeling how I feel at the accountant's office, right? Like, you should be feeling a little bit of anxiety. All right, here we go. Would you rather hit a hole-in-one or close a big deal?
Close a big deal.
Interesting.
Yeah,
bro.
I've come very close to a hole-in-one.
Okay.
I've gotten an albatross before.
Okay.
So
you kind of got the feeling.
I've got that feeling. Yeah. It hasn't obviously been a hole-in-one.
Yeah.
But I feel like closing that big business deal. Yeah. It's like a reoccurring rush. Yeah. So I would say I would close the big deal. Okay. Yeah.
I hit a hole-in-one when I was 12.
Get out of here.
Over the water, par 3 course in Florida.
Really?
My dad was inside watching the Masters on Sunday. My grandpa goes, of course I'll come golf with you. And then on hole number 2, over the water, 12-year-old me, hole-in-one.
How'd it feel?
Insane. Yeah. I sprint back to my dad, who's just lazy watching golf. Got the ball. I'm like, I hit a hole-in-one. My grandpa's just like still walking because I like.
Did you have to buy a round?
Right, I know. Thank God it was like the 55+ community, and everybody was snowbirds. But yes. Best part of working in a family business?
I hit on it earlier. Being able to obviously see my brother and father every day at work, but knowing the work that I'm putting in is positively affecting them
Yeah.
as well as myself.
Yeah.
It's huge.
Yeah.
Couldn't ask for more.
Love it. If you could golf with any pro, past or present, who would it be?
Tiger Woods.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Easy.
Yeah. That would be so fun.
Oh.
Prior to his Achilles rupture.
Yeah, right. And the other things that he was involved in. Back when he was whatever.
We probably won't talk about that.
Yeah.
We'll probably just talk about golf.
Yeah, perfect. Again, thinking through like the hunting dynamic, like what's the best thing that you either have in your garage, or like what's the best kill that you've ever gotten? Is that the right phrase, the term?
Yeah, you could say that.
Great.
What's the best thing I've bagged, taken?
What's the best thing you've bagged, bro?
Bagged? I got a black bear opening day of deer season. The two seasons intersect. It was in Steuben County. We had some property there, and we've seen or heard of some bear in the area. I'd never seen a bear in real life. So I think it was like around I want to say 9:30 in the morning. I remember it very distinctly. And just heard a bunch of rustling behind me, and looked over my shoulder. It was this black blur just running down a hill, and it ran right underneath my tree stand. And my heart, my hands are shaking, my heart's thumping. I can hear it in my head. And I'm like, that's a bear. Yeah, it was insane, absolutely insane. That was probably one of the most exciting times I've had hunting. I've had some pretty exciting times, but that was wild just to be unexpected.
You bagged a bear.
Yeah. Yep. Very cool.
Wow. Describe dad life in one word.
Special. Just the amount of opportunity you have as a father. I would say it's exhausting, but I feel like can be said about a lot of things. That special opportunity that you can have as a father, I feel like is very difficult to replicate.
Yep.
So I'd say that.
It's awesome. What's your go-to way to unwind after a long work day?
Oh, man. I do really enjoy reading. I just bought a Kindle.
Nerd.
It's funny, every time I say that, people have this similar reaction.
No, I'm jealous, bro. I want to read more for sure.
The best way to do it, buy a Kindle.
Yeah.
This is not a promo for Kindle. We're not sponsored by Kindle.
This episode is sponsored by.
If you do want to sponsor us, that'd be great.
Oh, that'd be great.
Yeah, I've always enjoyed reading, and I was just talking to my brother about this. Just holding a physical book. I love having a physical book, but if I'm laying in bed or I'm on the couch and I'm holding a book and flipping the pages, your hand will cramp if it's a big enough book.
Yeah.
With a Kindle, it's just one hand, click, click, going through pages.
Right.
So much easier. I really do enjoy reading. But I would say if I didn't want to be a nerd, I would say honestly just decompress on the couch with my wife. We watch a lot of cooking shows. So glass of bourbon or tequila, watch some cooking shows with my wife and just hang out.
Love it.
Yeah.
You see the new Meghan Markle one? Have you seen the
No. Cooking show?
It's really weird. This is also sponsored by Meghan Markle's cooking show. Yeah,
actually, if Megan wants to come out, right?
Yeah, go ahead. That'll be how we'll close this episode. You're gonna report back after you watch this Meghan Markle. I think it's on Netflix. It's just weird. I don't know how to describe it. Just check it out. It's she's she has friends over. She is cooking stuff in the kitchen, and
really,
it's kind of interesting. Yeah. So anyway.
I will give that a whirl.
Good luck.
Let you know.
Yeah, I mean, hey, you said it. You said you like cooking shows, so I'm lobbing you some options.
I do. Tournament of Champions is my
oh, okay.
One.
Okay.
Yeah, right around March Madness time, they do Tournament of Champions. A bunch of top chefs that do competition cooking.
Love it.
And it is a ton of fun to watch.
I love it, man.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for being on.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, appreciate having you. This. And again, thank you for tuning in to the In Good Company podcast, where we believe that the best parts in business happen in good company and sometimes in a good family. So thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll catch you next time.